Back from a 106-date tour opening up for bands such as Van Halen, Wayne Newton at the Copa. It's here, they're live doing the Lee Parrish thing. Here's Ruin, and we're going to introduce you to Ruin right now.
Vosco.
And what the heck do you do?
Microphone.
Damon, guitar.
Paul, drums and percussion.
Cordy, bass guitar.
Glenn, glue, guitar.
Yeah, we're rolling.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, so I just wanted to start it off. Like, how did the band start?
It's kind of hard to really place where the beginning was.
How did it start? Oh yeah, teenagers.
We often would not go to school, and we'd stay home and just start writing music, playing songs, messing around, because it was the three of us. Became 3 out of 5 of this band.
So we were in separate bands. He had started Ruin, and then when I joined, it was you and Damon.
Yeah.
Then Cordy, right?
And Cordy. But you introduced to me at the Love Club, I think.
Yeah.
I bumped into him at Temple once, and we started talking. I said, "Come to my house," and we were down in the basement. I said, "Wait, Richie was already involved there, because we played this song Love Dog for him."
Rich
Love Dog.
Yeah.
We were terrified to get a drummer. First of all, we'd have to bring a stranger in and play this crazy ass music, and we weren't good musicians.
I think that's when you got Richie in.
Yeah.
That's when the band started being
Coalescing as Ruin, as we know it today. Yeah.
You know, if somebody wrote you up in Rolling Stone magazine, how would they describe you? Anybody want to?
Kick-ass rock.
Kick-ass rock, yeah.
The 60s had ended sometime in the early 70s. It was at a good time for us because we were coming into being young adults. We had a lot to express. We were disillusioned. So we needed an outlet, I think. Mm-hmm. And punk rock kind of seemed easy, actually.
Sometimes when we record, Vosco goes in a separate booth, and we're all in one room, and then when we overdub, we sort of go down into the garage and turn the amps up to 10.
Yeah, it was hard to in the beginning to find venues to play, and that's what spawned this kind of do-it-yourself attitude.
The rents were really cheap at that time. I think we were going through an economic slump in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
so
Reagan years, Reagan Thatcher. The Kennel Club, that was a major center of punk rock. It was at 13th and Walnut. What was it called before that? Rainbows. That tells you the disco gay thing. The manager of our band happened to be the manager of that club, and we encouraged him to at least let punk bands play, once in a while. And slowly the place has turned into a punk club. So that was a theme, and then there were regular bars where we would try to talk the owners into to let us set up on stage and just do a set. And they're often very wary, but once you got all the kids in there and they sold their alcohol, they were fine.
If we didn't have to rely on the clubs, because that started happening too, that you could find a place, rent it out, just bring your amps up.
That was the whole beginning of that DIY mentality.
Yeah.
Who cares about rock and roll? It all sucks. All this is all a bunch of distraction from what's happening. If you took away all your entertainment, you'd be so upset at what's going on, you'd crack up and be paralyzed, and you wouldn't know what to do.
looking like the British
Right.
1980
Right.
type of
Yeah.
with the studs,
Leather jackets,
spiked
studs,
hair and
maybe
so
a
on.
mohawk.
And I suppose if you look at photographs from the New York scene or the British scene in the late 70s, there were those folks out there on the street walking around in Philly, and art students or whatever.
An issue that impacted Ruin, I think, was that we refused, not that we refused, we just weren't interested in, that, going back to your question, that sort of punk lifestyle, the punk look. We even wore white clothes on stage, and we just wanted to present differently somehow.
I think there was a move towards conforming to a look.
Yeah, ironically, right?
Especially with the hardcore, when I say hardcore, I'm thinking people that would go to a Black Flag Meyer Threat show, Discharge maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
Did they ever
sure.
play here? I didn't see them.
we played with them in Jersey.
I forgot.
City Gardens.
This is just my job. This is just a second job.
Well, they pay you real well, right? So extra bucks in your pocket.
Yeah, I get cigarettes and coffee. Yeah. I get a sense of power because all these people going, yay! Because I can't get in my real life.
You could say back then, you could say, Boston, L.A., Washington. People immediately had a sound in their heads because these cities were associated with a very particular punk sound. Not the case with Philadelphia. And a lot of people are saying now is that might be one reason that Philadelphia bands never really broke out the way some of these other bands from these other cities did. These scenes weren't separated in a way. I'm not even sure that it's punk in some ways. It has punk elements, it has hardcore elements, it has pop elements, it has folk music elements. And we probably couldn't have survived in the New York punk scene that way, I imagine, from what I've heard. In Philadelphia, absolutely.
There's a variety of talents coming together, even though they might not like the same stuff, and they just coalesced, like you said, and what something kind of made a scene happen.
Right. And from what I hear now, that scene has kind of become history in a way, like gone past nostalgia into history. Is that what we're hearing is what Tom's describing is pretty unique to Philadelphia. There was no clear association with what that meant to be a punk band in Philadelphia. That's one of the reasons. That's really one of the strengths of this mixture of people. You want an art form, especially a powerful art form like music or even like hard music, like punk rock. You want it to operate in a way that can change values in society. But when we're talking like this, it occurs to me how much the punk scene back then simply absorbed and the society's values and reflected it back to them. But there were some of these efforts to actually, incite change. This idea of ruin is more than just a name, it's more than just some punk idea of destruction. Ruin is an interesting object. It's a thing from the past that lives in the present. It started out as technology and science and mortar and brick and has become nature, fused with nature. So there's something even more real about it now. It was very early days.
shattered. On. Dry world's liver. On. Desert heart, bubble. Don't participate or understand the isolation. See is just a form of social reaction. Don't look right at the place between the cracks. Not to tell you something that doesn't really matter. Let's see.